This is a door. Now, can you see, if your front door looks like this today, life's all right for you. You're probably doing quite well. You're probably quite wealthy. This is a 700-year-old East African door from Zanzibar, from what we call the Swahili Confederacy. So there was a collection of city-states almost that spoke the language Kiswahili in East Africa that were part of a semi-global trade network. They traded with the Middle East, with India, far afield as China and the Javanese Empire. There's a fantastic book by a woman called Janet Abu Loghold called Before European Hegemony, and it looks at the semi-global system of trade between East Africa, the Middle East, India and China at the time. And the wealth of this kingdom was part of the product of that semi-global trade system. Next slide, please. This is a house from the period. Now, can you see that other than the mold around the door, that could be a 1920s Art Deco house? And according to English Africanist scholar Basil Davidson, who's been there, I haven't been there, but this is what the writing here says of him investigating that. These houses, of course the houses of rich people living in this time, contain good internal sanitation. Next slide, please. This is a reconstruction of one of the main palaces from 1300 AD in what today would be Tanzania. Can you see the swimming pool? There was 100 rooms in here. Yeah, 1300 AD palace in Eastern Africa.
600 or 700 years ago, when houses like this one first began to be designed and built by Swahili architects for leading men and merchants, there were few houses anywhere else in the world so well designed for comfortable city life.
This particular house dates from the early 18th century, but much older examples of Swahili domestic architecture not only demonstrated a unique construction and embellishment, but were built to a high standard of what we now call modern conveniences. While the inhabitants of London in Elizabethan times were emptying chamber pots out of the window, Swahili residents of Lamu who could afford such a house as this enjoyed the luxury of good internal sanitation.
These old Swahili houses spell out for us the basic aims that guided the architects in their design: to make the best possible use of local materials, finely plastered coral stone, necessarily short rafters of mangrove tree poles, and then to ensure a high level of domestic privacy, and not least to show off and guarantee the creditworthiness of the owner, so essential in a community whose livelihood always depended on the profits and the risks of long-distance trade.
Lamu is nowadays the best preserved of the old Swahili coastal towns, but it was by no means the most